What can you talk about for hours? Astrophysics and otters. I love river otters, cars, and that video games do not cause violence. Music. Most likely Skyrim. I know a thing or two. Fishing. There is nothing like making 1,000 casts. Getting more and more depressed with every passing moment, and then bam, you get hammered by a monster and suddenly there is nothing else that matters. I have spent an untold, seriously, don't tell my wife, amount of money on the sport, and it's the only hobby I have that is a passion instead of a distraction. Movies, books, and video games. Yes, I'm a nerd, lol. Fucking space blows my mind, especially without a suit. Boobs, they're literally the greatest. Those bags of sand? Bro, I've said this to almost every girl I've been with and not one thought it was funny. I could just argue with someone over anything for hours. Doesn't need to be a specific subject. I can argue over anything. Oh, I love this. I have a friend or two who I'll get into this with. It doesn't have to be a good position or even a position you hold yourself. I feel like it's basically just role-playing as It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia characters, which is a ton of fun. Anime. Call me a weeb, but my gosh is it addicting. I like anime. Glory to weeb union. Weeb. Why a minute and an hour isn't 100 minutes or 100 seconds? It makes no fucking sense. Why would they do 60? Ancient times, darling. Babylonians used base 60. They probs stole that from somewhere though. Greek mythology. Scary stories, creepy encounters, ghost sightings, haunted places. Anything where I can connect the microscopic and macroscopic. Would you like me to tell you how the very existence and political and religious structure of Russia, America, Iraq, and China are all traceable to Genghis Khan's decision to unite the Mongolian tribes? How about the genealogy of the ancient Swedish kings, which reveals that Odin was simply a historical figure who was worshipped after death, common practice in many cultures, thus providing evidence that polytheism develops from ancestor worship and hero cults, not monotheism from polytheism. Or maybe I could tell you how the physical properties of cis and trans double bonds in lipid hydrocarbon chains affects the rigidity of cell membranes, explaining why saturated fat increases the risk of atherosclerosis. Or I could explain sociological trends based on individual psychological motivations. Or I could tell you dozens of well-known phenomena that conflict with the narrative of the age of the Earth, such as Australia's burning mountain being a coal seam set on fire by igneous rock dated to be millions of years old. Or I could tell you why Schrödinger's cat was actually an argument against a specific interpretation of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, the whole point being that the cat can't be both alive and dead. So on and so forth. You sound like a very interesting person to talk with. Percy Jackson, Harry Potter, Marvel, Brooklyn 99, and Indian mythology. I also can talk hours about Indian movies and Agatha Christie. Dungeons and Dragons. I got introduced to 3.5 in 2009 and became hooked. Video games and music. If you have half an interest in either topic, I can talk forever. Harry Potter. Did you know Ted Tonks was introduced in the first book itself? I recently found this out. I haven't read the stories in a long time. I mostly read HP fanfic nowadays. Same, but I will read it again ASAP cause things are slipping off my mind. Wasn't he the one who met Harry in the store and bowed to him, or a something? No, that was Diggle if I remember correctly. Ted Tonks was actually the news reporter who smirked when he was reading the news about owls flying over the city. Dungeons and Dragons. My cats. I have an adopted cat. I'm a mid-30s guy. Always been a dog guy. Never really liked cats at all. This cat decided it wanted to live at our house because it didn't like its own home. Long story short, it moved in, took over my house, but has decided I'm his best friend. He follows me everywhere like a dog. We have wrestles all the time, play games all the time. We are now best friends. Music. My love for exotic animals, especially arachnids. Brother, this is great. Food and nutrition, Greek mythology and Arthurian legends. Stuff you talk about when stoned AF. Analyzing other people's behavior. So glad I found someone that also likes this. It's so interesting seeing how different people act in different situations. It's sad cause none of my friends find this interesting, so I can't ever talk about it with them, lol. Anything, if you're willing to listen to me ramble. If you wanna ramble here. That is one of the many uses of Reddit. Food, and then you get hungry and eat some, and then you're back to thinking of more food. Politics, Trump's shortcomings, aliens, conspiracy theories, ghosts, animals, work, cryptids, music, movies, the universe and meaning of life. I just talk a lot. I can talk about the big orange moron's shortcomings for approximately 60 seconds before I get so angry with this reality that I have to change the subject to puppies or something. Cars. Seems like a lot of people like cars. The movie? Gardening. What did you plant this year? Same, I practically give a 2-hour lecture when people come over about all the plants I have. Korean culture, traditional music, and food. Old school video games. Especially if the topic turns to soundtracks. I could gush for hours about various artists and how I love their music. What are some of your favorite old school games? Silent Hill franchise. Movies, books, including comics, horses and probably snakes. I've never read any comics, just manga. Can you tell me what do you read? I honestly mostly have Marvel comics. I suggest you look at your other interests and see if there is a comic book version. Also just talk to people at the store, explain in what you like and ask if they have any suggestions. And lastly, maybe start with back issues. They are usually cheaper, so you can use them to find what you like before spending more money. There also may be some free or cheaper options online, but I haven't really looked into that. I hope this helps. Have you read the Sandman comics? They were my gaming gateway back when I got carded for buying them this year. I was 18, but look 12. Drugs, anime and video games. I spent my teenage years well. Drugs. Yes, I totally forgot that I've done a lot of drugs and could probably tell hours of stories about doing them, monsieur. Well, politics, mainly because I studied it even if no one else wants to talk about it. Life, conscious decision, choices. Sports. 1,000,000%. I feel like a part of me has been missing these past couple months. Got a top 3? Or passing interest in all? Top 3 teams or topics. I think the Pelicans and Bengals are very interesting no matter your rooting interests because of Zion and Burrow. This topic is playing through COVID. Oh, like top 3 sports you like to follow. I used to watch a lot of NFL but have shifted towards MMA myself. And I know very little of the NBA. Haha. Music. Why animation is important in fighting games. Or in general. Also just why fighting games are my favorite type of games ever. All the things I hate about my life. Political theory and philosophy. I plan on majoring in poli-sci and minoring in philosophy. I could talk for hours about it. Conspiracy theories. I just can't get enough, from flat earth to black magic and shadow people. There's so many. I have recently found out about gang stalking and my mind is blown. I feel so sorry for those people because they are clearly suffering from mental illness, but thanks to the internet they have convinced themselves that the government is spending millions to stalk them so that they go crazy. Jesus fuck. It's horrible. All the smart and neat things my cat does. Me too! Exclamation mark. Except no one wants to hear it from me. Trains, horror movies and ideas I have for comics. Cooking, coffee, software, mathematics, outdoor survival, yacht, weird mix. History. Probably music with this girl I really like who also loves music. Martial arts. Can you tell me more about it? Give me a subject and I'll say what I know. Laughing face. What do you learn exactly? I practice Muay Thai and Taekwondo. I am looking forward to building a career out of fighting. I am currently 16. I want to start with kickboxing. Then I want to do MMA after that. I train 6 times a week. 3 times Muay Thai, 3 times Taekwondo, and Sundays I'm free. Stephen Thompson and Demetrius Johnson inspired me to do martial arts. 2 of my idols. I love them both and look up to them and hope I can be like them someday. You must be very passionate and motivated in your life. Hope you succeed. Music and horror movies. Nonsense. Like how many teaspoons are in year. Go on. How a train signaling system works and why people have so many misconceptions about it. Power Rangers lore. NASA. I want to be an engineer there. Good luck. My dad was an engineer at Mission Control when I was really young. I never really realized how badass it was until I was an adult. He taught me to recognize the stars when I was about 6. Fun times. Anything I feel like, from dogs and music to religion, mental health and abuse. I just enjoy talking and digging into others' minds. I am also an open book and will drop my life story on anyone willing. I believe by not talking about it that it allows the topic to have control, and I hate that. Also, everyone has their own view and it teaches you stuff even if it's something you would never agree with. Cars and motorcycles, and driving, and science fiction. I've never talked to someone who likes cars. Can you tell me what you like about cars? Well, they've got 2 pluses, one on the medkit and one on the car battery. Thanks. Not my comment, but cars are amazing. I could buy a car right now for $400. That's nothing for a ton of steel that can move my body over 100 miles per hour. And everyone has a car and experiences this, and no one talks about how life-changing the invention of the automobile was. Used to be me. I once talked with a total stranger at a bar for 3 hours about BMW F650 GS, which neither of us owned. And I'm not really that in on BMW. For me it's memes, video games and sleep. Reptiles, animals in general. My ball python, 2000 rock, and K-pop from 2005 to 2016. Roller coasters. When someone gets me talking about them I don't stop. That's very random but interesting. Animals. Especially whales. Pokemon. Buffy the Vampire Slayer and some other general video game. D&D and movie nonsense. You should consider going to public places for whale watching anyway. Very interesting. It can be hard to find in whale-conscious whale watching company. Far too many chase them down and harass them to encourage big blows. Fluking and breaching. Whales logging is boring to some people, though I'll never understand that. There isn't much whale activity in my country unfortunately, and getting around with a disabled partner to these remote places is no easy task. However, a few years ago I spent researching them and managed to write a unique paper on humpback whales. I'm hoping to build on this new research and work towards a PhD eventually. You must be very smart in biology. I wouldn't really say that, but I'm quite specialized and it's a real passion of mine. I love research. I love stats and I love putting the pieces of knowledge together. I've been helping people with their biology work and studies during quarantine because I'm furloughed and bored. I'll be doing it until I start my master's in November. Heavy metal music. Anyway guys, thanks for the support and submissions. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks anyway. This was a great question. Reading through some of the things people are excited about made me want to talk to them. Anything depends on the person tbh. That's why I'm asking. F1. Me too dude. How long have you been following F1? Food. Dark Souls. I absolutely love the lore of the games. I've never played Dark Souls, but it seems Pog. Pog? 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 What's your favorite game by From Software in the Souls Sires or not? I think I'd have to say Dark Souls 1. That's the game that got me into the series in the first place, but 3 does have a soft spot in my heart. I have mixed feelings about 2 though. I like some of the things it did, such as power stancing and a good variety of spells, but I hate that you have to invest level to rolling worthwhile in the stamina consumption. The stamina consumption is insane. I love the storyline Dark Souls 2 brought in, but some of its mechanics prevents me from calling it my favorite. And I've only played little bit of Bloodborne, so I can't say much on that, and I haven't even touched Sekiro yet. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.